This trade will solve all of the Atlanta Hawks' major problems. And as you know, we've been watching the Atlanta Hawks, and they've had some really good days, and they've had some not so great days. And those not so great days really come from the injury bug and them playing really good teams, and they're just not able to match up. But when watching these games, there's two glaring problems that when this happens, the Atlanta Hawks always go down in terms of scoring, or they just can't figure it out. And that's the number one problem. They need a backup point guard, and number two, they need a prolific scorer when Trae Young sits on the bench. And all those can be found in this one individual, and that's Jordan Clarkson of the Utah Jazz. Jordan Clarkson averages 16 plus points per game right now, and he is a guy that is immediate offense. He's a guy that does not need much offense ran around him. He can be the primary ball handler, and if he needs to score, he's a guy that can create his own shot. That is something that we don't really see that much in the second unit, and we're asking Jalen Johnson to do, but we need to kind of figure that out going forward, because that second unit is really good if they have an individual who can create for themselves and initiate the offense. And I think Jordan Clarkson fits that bill. We see how good this Atlanta Hawks team is with Trae Young on the floor, but then we also see how kind of questionable it can be with Trae Young off the floor. And Quinn Snyder is playing Trae Young more and kind of spreading out his minutes, but we need to address the issue, which is a backup point guard for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, what does this trade look like? I know it's easy to say you want Jordan Clarkson on your team, but what does this trade look like? There's really two options for this trade, and a lot of people are going to say they're really not going to like the second option, so I'm just going to go with the first option, and that is a first-round draft pick, Larry Nance, for Jordan Clarkson. Why will we give up a first? I think what Jordan Clarkson does right now will benefit us more than a future draft pick in the future. Like I said, right now the Atlanta Hawks are loaded with young core talent. They need to fill out the roster out with veterans and guys who can get immediate offense. I'm not saying we don't need to invest in the draft, but us taking 2, 3, 4 years to find and develop another player would not benefit us as much as Jordan Clarkson would right now, because the primes of some players, we do have some players that are older, such as DeAndre Hunter and Trae Young, and their windows are getting smaller and smaller and smaller every year. And if we spend 2, 3, 4 years drafting another player and developing them to be fit in a role, that is just taking time away from their primes. So Jordan Clarkson traded for a first-round pick and Larry Nance. I just threw Larry Nance in there to make the deal work. I think this is something that Utah will take as well, because as we know, Danny Ainge, he feels like he's getting over on teams, and he feels like he's getting these first-round picks, and he's winning every trade. And he wants a first-round pick for Jordan Clarkson, and that's fine. Even though Danny Ainge's team currently sucks, and he did not rebuild the Boston Celtics to what they are today, but that's neither here nor there. Now, I think both parties will work. I think both trades will work, and this is a good trade for both teams. Given the Utah Jazz, they want to rebuild. They have a young core, giving them some more opportunity to get another player, and then giving the Hawks an immediate offensive player that can initiate the offense and play point guard with the second unit. Now, here's one other trade that could potentially happen. A lot of people aren't going to like this, and you just do a Yucca Okongwu for Jordan Clarkson straight up. From there, you figure out a way to get a backup center for Clint Capella, but a lot of people aren't going to like that, and so I'm going to throw that on the back burner. Now, final thing. Why would this help the Atlanta Hawks going forward? Like I mentioned, Jordan Clarkson is a 16-point guy, 16-point per average guy. And more than the scoring, this will allow the Hawks to be able to run offense without Trae Young being on the floor. Every time Trae Young comes out the game, this offense kind of sputters. There's stretches, 2, 3, 4 minute stretches where there's not a field goal scored. And Jordan Clarkson, not only being a scorer, but being a ball handler, can eliminate some of these empty possessions that the Hawks are having week after week after week. The Hawks need a backup point guard. The Hawks need a scorer outside of Trae Young. And Jordan Clarkson does that both while also making less than $14 million a year, which is something that fits in with the Hawks' DNA. They want to be cheap. $14 million a year. Also, he has another year left on his contract, so this is not a one-and-done deal. This is a win-win-win-win-win. And I think if Jordan Clarkson and the Hawks are able to get Jordan Clarkson on this team, this will not only take them from a maybe 5 to 6 seed, but up until that 4-3 seed, above some like Orlando and those teams. So, but if you agree or disagree with me, please do me a favor, leave a comment down below. Let me know how you feel. And if you want to see Jordan Clarkson in Atlanta, leave a comment down below. Say Clarkston to Atlanta. But also, if you want to see more videos like this, check this one out right here. Like always, peace.